Okay, thank you everyone, Joe and Teresa specifically for attending. Once we post this on Canvas, anyone who is watching, we're very fortunate today to have the Associate Director of Transfer Admissions and Recruitment from Youngstown State University, Miss Kim Avery. So we're gonna, if there's questions, Joe or Teresa, Kim is pretty informal. You can throw them right in the chat and she will grab them. And if it's anything else, I'll see it and I can interrupt Kim real quick. We thank you for attending and take it away, Kim.
Well, hello, I'm Kim Avery. I'm the Associate Director of Transfer Admissions and Recruitment at Youngstown State. I have been working with transfer students for 16 and a half years. So I've done this for quite some time. And then one nice thing about working with transfer students is that I never know what I'm going to get. So I can kind of be flexible and kind of adjust things on the fly, not a problem. So just to kind of get us started and to get a sense of like what direction to go, if you guys can let me know what your intended majors are, and then we can kind of make little tweaks and I can show you some specific information since it's just the two of you. Social work, yay. Okay, and then Teresa, if you just want to drop yours in the chat if you can, and then we can be, like I said, I can be a little bit more specific to kind of doing things. If I am going too fast, feel free to unmute yourself and let me know. I tend to talk fast. Event and hotel management. Okay. At least it gives me a direction. So we'll see, we can see kind of what we can do with that because we have a, and I'm blanking on the title of our major, but we have a bachelor's degree in something similar. So depending on what you want to do, Teresa, we can kind of use your credits and kind of configure the best way for you. I am going to go ahead and share my screen. So to get started, so when I have the chat up in my other screen, sorry, this is great. I have 3 screens that I can use. So it's kind of nice with my setup. So, I mean, if you haven't yet applied, let's touch on that first. So if you're looking at coming for fall semester, fall of 21, then you can actually go ahead and apply now. I know that Eastern Gateway's courses, they're going to end at 2 different times in May, depending on if you're in a full semester course, if you're in the last 8-week course, because of just how the 8-week courses are configured, the first, the mid, the last, and there may be another one thrown in there as well. So I know that the last 8-week course, I think, ends May 23rd, if I'm remembering correctly. And then the other one ends like May 9th. So depending on what your configuration is, then you can apply now as long as your GPA is a 2.0 or higher. And if you attended multiple institutions, like Teresa, so we do a combination of your GPAs. So if you've done like 12 hours at, say, Kent, and like 15 hours at Tri-C, and like 60 hours at Eastern Gateway, then we will combine all of those and do our calculation to get the overall GPA. As long as your overall GPA is a 2.0 or higher, we can admit you with this semester in progress. So classes for fall semester start on Monday, August 30th. But we've got plenty of time to get students applied, getting them processed, and getting them admitted. Our transfer admissions pages, which is what you're seeing right now on with the screen I'm sharing, that's pretty much where you can get the process started, some of the questions answered, and all of that. So there's 5 various tabs on the transfer student webpage. So, and you can access this transfer student webpage by just going to the main page, clicking on admissions, and then if you scroll down under the undergraduate side of things, you'll see the transfer pages. So Joe, for you, if you're finishing up your associates in spring of 22, then you're not going to apply until as early as January of 22, because that will give you excuse me, spring semester in progress to get in for fall. So with regard to the transfer process, it's all under admissions, gives you some information. My contact information is right here too. So if, as you're kind of going through this process, you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so. Application steps are down here. So you can click on the transfer application, get it completed, and then get us, I need original official transcripts from each institution you have attended. Once you transfer from one institution to another, say you went to Kent and then transferred to Eastern Gateway changes those course numbers, those original course numbers from Kent to Eastern Gateway courses. So I can't take off of an Eastern Gateway transcript somewhere else. So I need the original information on that official transcript. It's really easy to get transcripts from other institutions. All I do is I just go to their websites, in their search function, type in transcript request, and it gives me those instructions right there. So any student can do that because it's just public.
Kim, I had a quick question, if that's okay. Kind of on Joe's thing, I think that's a great point. If a student, say Joe or another one, is graduating in a year, can they still reach out to you now on this stuff just to ask questions? Yeah, okay, great.
Yeah. So I talk to students sometimes at the very beginning of their community college experience, and then we try to put a very specific plan together. And it depends on if we have an articulation agreement already in place, which for Joe, we do, because social work, we have that articulation agreement that we just signed off in the fall because they just started that program in the fall. So when we heard that Eastern Gateway was going to add that social work associate's degree, we started having those conversations between our institutions. So it really is a seamless transition. Your 2 years associate degree at Eastern Gateway transfers in. So it really is a 2+2 in how it's set up in the agreement. So smooth transition. That is, of course, if you are going full-time. If you are going part-time, that 2 years turns longer just because you're doing less classes each semester. So application, all of that information is right here. This is, of course, more of the transactional side of things, but there is an application fee. We do have a fee waiver for students who do qualify for Pell. So if you're qualifying for Pell grants, I know that I have sent it's called the NACAC transfer fee waiver. I know some of the advisors have that. And then Joanne Parrish in the financial aid office, she'll sign off on it to attest, yes, this student is getting Pell here at Eastern Gateway, or at least they qualify for it. So if you've exhausted all your Pell, because Pell, and I'm going to premise everything financial aid that I know just enough financial aid to be dangerous. So, but I do know this. So a student can qualify for Pell, but if they have reached their lifetime limit in their Pell, because that's a federal guideline, that's not an institutional guideline, but on their student aid report, if it says, and it has that statement pretty much on page 1 of the SAR, that due to your expected family contribution of whatever number, it is for you as the student, then you qualify for X amount of dollars of Pell for the 2020-2021 academic year if you didn't exhaust all of that funding. Or max out, or whatever language that they use. I can't remember exactly. But the NACAC fee waiver, and NACAC is our National Association for College Admissions Counseling. So it's our overarching organization in the admissions world. So if you need one, I can send it to you. Even if you just Google NACAC, which is the acronym transfer fee waiver, then it's really easy to find through Google, because anybody can access it. You don't have to be a NACAC member to access it. So we try to make college as accessible as possible and as easy as possible in this transition. And then if you are earning your associate's degree prior to you coming to YSU, I don't need high school transcripts. So that's a recent change here at YSU. It used to be the bachelor's degree, but the US Department of Education, as long as somebody is vetting that you are a high school graduate, when you have your associate's degree, that's kind of cleared through the community college, then we're good on our end. So application steps. We try to, again, make it pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And the application is really simple and straightforward too. It's already information you should know about yourself. Your name, your address, where have you attended high school, where you have attended college, basic demographic information, and what do you want to pursue? What is your intended major? So it should take you about 10-15 minutes. You can submit the application and then it will prompt you to pay, and then you can mark pay later if you are sending us that fee waiver, and then we just match it to your file. Credit transfer information just kind of gives you an overview of how your transfer credits are and how the posting is and all of that. There's sometimes alternative credit that you can receive through prior learning assessment. So if you've worked in an industry and are like, you know what, I work for an agency, or I work for a hotel, then what could I do with regard to that, that work experience? So that's something that you can do through our prior learning assessment. Tammy King, who oversees that program, she's the one that I would refer you to kind of talk further about that. Some people who come in with like criminal justice majors, if you have an OPATA certificate, that's already been looked at, and there are certain credits that an individual who went through the police academy, or who may have worked for the Ohio Department of Rehabilitations and Corrections, there's certain credit that they will get with showing us proof of that completion. So sometimes it's kind of like, oh, you have this done. We've already looked at all of this. Sometimes what you've done has to be looked at further. Financial aid and scholarships are kind of all listed here. So again, I know just enough financially to be dangerous. I've been doing this long enough that I just remember things as I have been working with transfer students who have participated in lots of different events over the years. So FAFSA, of course, you file to determine what need-based aid you qualify for. Grants, loans, work study money, all of that good stuff. I do not have access to the to any student's financial aid information. So if you ask me, have you gotten my FAFSA information? Then I will refer you directly to financial aid. This tab under the transfer student webpage gives you some basic information about, hey, you need to sign your FAFSA with your FSA ID. Here's the link to FAFSA. Here's some additional things that you can access for that. If you're qualifying for FAFSA at Eastern Gateway with Pell Grant, with those direct loans that used to be Stafford loans when I was in college, then ultimately you'll qualify for it here. Scholarships. So scholarships are based off of merit or your GPA. So as long as you have again, if you're multiple institutions, we combine that GPA to not only determine admission, but also to determine scholarships. If your overall GPA is a 3.0 or higher, you're going to automatically qualify for one of our transfer scholarships. If you are a Phi Theta Kappa member, then I need you to send me your Phi Theta Kappa certificate. So if you have like a 3.3 overall GPA and are Phi Theta Kappa, because maybe like a previous institution is just bringing your Eastern Gateway GPA down a little bit, then you get $1,000 for the transfer scholarship, $1,500 on top of that for Phi Theta Kappa. So you'll get $2,500. Our COVID scholarships, this needs to be removed. It was for this academic year that we are currently in. I think we have exhausted all of the funding that we received from like the CARES Act or where else, like our foundation. So unfortunately, this is going to actually come off. But Phi Theta Kappa, you can just email me your certificate and then I'll add you to my list and then send it to financial aid for awarding. If you've received an email to join Phi Theta Kappa and you're like, I don't know what the value is in joining because it costs you $100-ish. Every community college is different to join. That value is you have a $1,500 scholarship waiting for you. And I don't care how active you are. I'm sure that Karen Spindler would like you to be active because she is the advisor down at Eastern Gateway. But I just care that you have that certificate and I can say, yes, you have proof of membership. So if you have been like, is this legitimate? It is. So spending that $100 to join, even if it's in name only, so sorry, Karen, then ultimately you have that $1,500 waiting for you. So you get $1,400 back from that $100 investment. That's the value.
Great segue, Kim. I did just work with a student that wanted to join Phi Theta Kappa, had some financial issues with the $100, and we were able to get financial aid to give them a refund for the $100, so they were just able to get the money that way.
Okay.
This is getting recorded, so I just want everyone to hear that. If you have any questions about Phi Theta Kappa, don't want to spend the $100, we may be able to get you that funding anyway.
I just did a presentation for Eastern Gateway on Tuesday with Melanie's group. And somebody, I think, put in chat or somebody made a comment. Oh, that's good to know because I wasn't sure if it was a scam or not. Because I know as a student, I talk to students here and they're like, I got invited to this thing and of course it's by email. So there's a lot of phishing attempts by email and scams that you get by email. So yeah, it's not a scam. It is really an international honor society at the community college level. And I have been to the international convention on a few different occasions for their transfer fare portion. So yes, and I've known people who have held officerships at the international side of things. So, and the one that I've known for many years, I don't know if he's done with his doctorate already, but he was a really active Phi Theta Kappa member at a different community college here in Ohio. So yes, so it's legitimate, I promise you. I wouldn't like provide the information about that or have this scholarship if it wasn't. So yay. Okay, so transfer scholarships, financial aid, all here. There's a lot of transfer resources that we have. The nice thing about starting somewhere like Eastern Gateway, you are at a state institution. Youngstown State is a state institution. So there are certain guarantees that you have when you're transferring within the state system. The Ohio Transfer Module takes care of your gen ed. So if you're graduating with not only your associate's degree, but the Ohio Transfer Module completed, that's something that you may want to ask your advisor. Hey, am I going to have the transfer module completed? If they say no, you may want to ask, well, how do I get the Ohio transfer module completed? And then they can help you pick up some additional general education classes that may not be included in the associate's degree that you're pursuing. State approved tags, there are certain classes that match social work. So there are several social work classes that, oh, this course matches this from any state institution that has that course to any state institution that has that course. So we just happen to have that articulation agreement already in place, so it makes that nice, smooth transition. But if you take any of those classes, they're automatically going to come in and not have a problem at all with course matches. We even have some military. So if you were ever in the military, there are certain jobs in the military that have already been reviewed, and the state of Ohio has created those MTAGs for you. So you have certain things. The Ohio Guaranteed Transfer Pathways, this is something that is currently evolving because it's so new here in Ohio. I know business is a done and completed OGTP. Social work is also going to be a part of that OGTP, but I don't think that they've started to review everything for that. But they're going to look at various associate's degrees and disciplines to make that kind of, it's almost like a state articulation agreement. So you can be at any 2-year institution and then come into any 4-year institution. As long as you're following that pathway, then you're good. Then it should be kind of like an articulation agreement with that institution. We actually use transferology. So if you ever want to go into transferology and plug in your courses and then match them to Youngstown State, it pulls from our equivalency tables. So you can actually say, oh, English 101 matches English 1550. This matches this, and so on and so forth. So you would see those. I don't believe there's anything from Eastern Gateway from a course offering perspective that doesn't have a match. Any new courses that Eastern Gateway would develop, we would have to probably review and match if it's not a state approved tag or OTM, but everything should be there already in our system. And then here also has the community college gen ed guides. So Eastern Gateway is right there. So Eastern Gateway, you can see, oh, this is an old one. I need to update it because I did something just recently. Oh, it's the astronomy. This doesn't include the astronomy class. That was a new class that started, I think, fall of 2020 or summer of 2020. So this just kind of gives you an idea of here are all of the Eastern Gateway classes and what block for our gen eds they would fall into. So English 101, 102, both of your writing classes at YSU, speech, math, arts and humanities, and so on and so forth. So you can take a look at that through the transfer page. Business, yes. So business, I actually have, let me go back. I have business guides, but I don't have them added. I can get you one for that. Oh, articulation agreements. We talked about the social work one. And then there's just an FAQ that you can kind of go through and see some of our frequently asked questions. Okay, now major. So through our main page, there's also the academics. So you can access academics and it always defaults to our bachelor's degree list. So for social work, for Joe, you would come and do social work, but it doesn't, and it wouldn't have the articulation agreement listed, but we could work together to kind of get that done. But as long as you're following the associate's degree, it comes in nicely. But you can get more information about social work and get kind of like, okay, what should I be expecting to get through? Okay, I'll have this done, I'll have this done, I'll have this done, and kind of go from there. Okay, so there's that. For Teresa, I have to look at the list because I'm still We have over 100 majors at YSU to choose from. Hospitality management, there it is. That's the one that I couldn't remember. So for hospitality management, this is a program that you could do here. Unfortunately, it is not 100% online. There could be some classes within the hospitality management major that you could do online, but it's just not something that's fully online. So, but we can, I mean, you can get microeconomics, psych, macro done, the marketing concepts, the fundamentals of management. You can get those done at Eastern Gateway. I can get, like I said, I can get you some of that information. The accounting you can get done at Eastern Gateway. But our hospitality management, there's some courses that are more along the lines of like a hands-on type of area. So it's just not 100% online, unfortunately. So our online degrees, you can click, hang on, let me go back and back. Our online degrees are listed here, but it gives you everything when it comes to online, bachelor's, master's, and other doctoral programs online. So you kind of have to look. Our online degree programs would consist of more degree completion. So allied health is one of our online degrees. It's a completion from an individual who has a health-related associate's degree, but our respiratory program, if a student does the respiratory program down at Eastern Gateway, I think it's only offered at Steubenville, then they can come do the respiratory online completion. Criminal justice, we have that articulation agreement also with Eastern Gateway, and that is a degree completion that can be done online. Our articulation agreement with criminal justice consists of not only the associate degree in criminal justice, but we just signed off on the agreement for the paralegal to criminal justice. So students who have a paralegal or pursuing that associate's degree can come and do the criminal justice bachelor's degree. And it's a pretty smooth transition. Our RN to BSN is also a degree completion. The only fully online, like start to finish without having an associate's degree already done is our public health. So I don't know with the pandemic if our administration may be looking at some additional majors that could be transitioned to an online format as either full or degree completion. I know that Eastern Gateway, especially with some of the students who are getting their courses through the union benefit, they're all over the place. And then that's something that they're looking for online programs. So we may not always be the best choice in what the student's end goal is when it comes to what we offer, what's available in seat versus what's available online. So I try to kind of help students kind of figure that out. And I'm honest, and I try to let them know, hey, this is what we have. Unfortunately, we don't. And if I know, because I've been doing this for so long, and I have colleagues all throughout the state, if I can help a student to kind of figure out, we don't have it, but I know that this other school has it, and I will refer them to that institution, because you want to do what you want to do. And you're doing this, I'm not doing it. I've done my college, I have my bachelor's degree, I have my master's degree. I am not going back for my doctorate. I have no desire to do a dissertation, but I know kind of the struggle and frustration of trying to figure out what is my best path and just kind of helping. And I really take the approach of what is in the best interest of the student. So, and what can I do to help them? And if it's here, great. If it's not here, still great. So we have that. So bachelor's degrees online. I'm trying to do, unfortunately, business. Teresa, if you want to do something along the lines of business, I mean, we have marketing, we have management, we do have a business administration. I would really want to see like what you've taken thus far with regard to the associate's degree that you're pursuing and see how it matches to YSU. And see what is the best option. Sometimes, because if a student comes and says, okay, I have all of these credits in all of these various areas, another online degree program is called General Studies. So it will use your credits the best way possible. So if you were pursuing one major at one point in time and you're like, this isn't for me, because that happens a lot, and then go into a different area. So you have all of these credits in so many different areas, then our general studies usually can go ahead and pursue that and kind of, it's almost like a custom made bachelor's degree. And a lot of times the degree doesn't matter per se, because there's a lot of careers out there that as long as you have a bachelor's degree, doesn't matter what it's in, then let's use the credits the best way possible. We also don't limit the amount of credits that we transfer in. So if you have 150 credit hours and still don't have a bachelor's degree done, we will take all 150. We have a residency requirement of 30 hours that you have to earn to graduate with a bachelor's degree from YSU. So if you have 150, you still need 30 hours, depending on how your courses fall and what they match to and what the degree requirements are. So it's not this as simple math that it can be, but it's kind of along the lines of, we have to match it to something. We have to have you meet those requirements. So, but minimum hours needed for any bachelor's degree in the state of Ohio is 120. So if you're coming to us with a bachelor or with an associate's degree at around 60 hours, again, it's not always the simple math. What is the associate degree in? What do those courses match to? What are the courses that are required for the degree that you're pursuing? And that sometimes dictates, is it really 60 to get you to your 120? Or is it more? It can sometimes be more. And some bachelor's degrees are more than the minimum of 120. Education is a great example. If you want to teach in the state of Ohio and you want to do middle level education and do grades 4 through 9 and do social studies and math, you're graduating with something in like the low 130s because you need to be licensed to teach and you need to have the content areas done to be able to teach, because you have to be licensed in the state of Ohio, and that's what they dictate. So we have to kind of develop our curriculum and our programs around that. So yeah, but you can see on the academics page, you can look at any of our bachelor's degree programs. It's right here in alphabetical order. So depending on what you as the student are looking at, then you have that. So, but I'm going to accept everything. So it really comes down to, and this is something that I don't think I touched on yet. So I talk about matching. So your courses fall into, say, 3 buckets. First bucket is gen eds, English comps, or writing classes, whatever you want to call them, speech, math, arts and humanities, social sciences, natural sciences, and we have an area called social and personal awareness. We abbreviate it as a SPA, but you're not going to the spa. It's not relaxing. It's just a course requirement. The second area or second bucket would be your major coursework. So Joe, for you, it would be social work. Teresa, whatever you decide to pursue, if you do the hospitality management versus business, yeah, we have all of that. Social media is in our communications department. So we could, that's a minor that you're seeing. So we do have a social media concentration part of our communications. So you can look at communication studies. I'm so sorry. I got distracted by that question. Communication studies. And then you can see the social media track. So you have that. And then you can go in and see and look at the curriculum sheet and read more about the major. Okay, so again, major coursework. So depending on what you have taken, does it match something to that major that you're pursuing for your bachelor's degree? If it doesn't fall under gen ed or major, then you will always get elective credit for any college level course that you've taken. So you'll never lose the courses that you have earned. Some majors are just more elective friendly than others. Education, to go back to that example, there's really no electives because it's all full of content. So if you took, say, for example, a business course, not required for education, you're never going to lose those 3 hours or 4 hours, however many hours that course is. But yeah, it'll fall under the electives, and it's just not going to apply to gen ed or major. So there's that. Teresa, if you have done some of those hospitality classes and social media, general studies may be the best option for you to pursue, just because it will use those credits the best way possible. And sometimes, like I said, it doesn't matter what your bachelor's degree is to get into some of those employment opportunities. It's just the fastest way, because a lot of students are like, oh my gosh, I have all of these credits and I am not even close to finishing up in this direction versus this direction. But we can kind of combine it for that. And then from there, Gen Studies is the best option. And then Molly Burdett, who is the advisor, she will help you make sure, okay, you have this done, here are your concentrations, because you need 2 of them. Then you can kind of take them and kind of go with it. So that's an option. So I really try to have the student drive or dictate, okay, this is what I'm trying to do, and just try to help them kind of configure it the best way possible. So yeah. If a student comes to me and said, I don't know what to do, tell me what I should major in. Usually I say to them, we've just met. I've just been talking to you for 10 minutes. I don't know like the type of person you are, and what you think may be easy, I may think is really hard, or vice versa. So having a kind of an idea, or if you're open to things, that helps me help you as the student. So there's that. The exceptions to those transfer credits in those 3 buckets, gen ed, major, electives, any course that you didn't earn credit for by either withdrawing or not passing, of course you didn't earn credit, so those don't come over. But then also there are courses that students sometimes take within the developmental or the remedial area. At Eastern Gateway, those are those 09 classes, 095, 099. So those are developmental courses. So they don't match a college level course, but they get you into that college level math, or that writing 1 or English Comp 1 class, that English 101. So, but anything that starts with that 0 from Eastern Gateway, it's just not going to come to match anything, just to let you know. But it gets you to where you need to be, because that's where you did your placement test. So let's go back. That in and of itself is kind of a nutshell of transferring. If you would like, something that I did want to also share with you. So we are having next Friday, April 30th, we are having a virtual, because we're still not really having bigger events on campus, transfer visit day for transfer and adult students. So if you would like to join us, so I will cover some very basic information, some information that I've already covered today. We'll talk about like your transfer credits, again, stuff that I've already kind of gone over today, but it also gives you the opportunity to talk with our academic advisors. So our academic advisors are going to set up, and I really look at this as more of an open house. So if you have questions, you can come and talk to somebody and say, okay, this is what I'm doing. Can you tell me more about like where your graduates are? What am I looking at for finishing up the program there? So we will have our academic areas available in either a Zoom or a WebEx room that you can pop in and you can ask your questions and kind of have some of that interaction. So absolutely. Derek, I did send you the bit.ly link to all of that. If you want me to send you this, I can send you this. So
you sent it. That's good. I was just making sure it was okay that I posted to the rest of the students.
Yes, send them to my transfer day. I just ran my list and I think I have like 22 or 23 people who have registered so far. So we have another week and I'll keep the registration open, I think, until that morning. So as long as they try to drive them and say register by the 29th, so I can send out a list to my colleges the day before our event. But if you like the QR code, if you hold up your phone to it and you want to register, it will take you right to the registration page, or the bit.ly address will take you to our registration page too. And I did provide that to Derek. So if you want to get that information to Derek that he's going to post, you can wait to do that too. So, but I always think that the more answers you can get, because transfer students typically, their top 3 questions is to me, what out of my classes are going to transfer? They really want to know how they apply, but we talk about that. How long is it going to take me to finish? And then what is it going to cost me? So cost, that's something that we did not go through. Cost of YSU tuition wise for an in-state student. So if you live in the state of Ohio, you pay Ohio taxes. We get a portion of those taxes because we're part of the state system. So for an in-state full-time student for an annual cost, full-time is minimum of 12 hours. If you're part-time, you get charged per credit hour, which is like $380 something. But full-time status between 12 and 18 hours each semester, it's a plateaued cost. It's $9,588 and change. And I can never remember the change. If you live in Western Pennsylvania, the Panhandle, West Virginia, and the one county like in New York, right on the other side of like Erie, I think that's Chautauqua County, students in those areas only pay an additional $360 a year on top of that in-state rate. If you live outside of Ohio and outside of that tuition advantage area, it's an additional $6,000 a year as an out-of-state student. So, and that's dictated by the state. Eastern Gateway, they also have an out-of-state tuition cost because of the taxpayer dollars that taxpayers pay. So if you both are in state, then you'll do the $9,588 and change per year. Depending on if we increase our tuition for fall of 21 or not. We still have not heard what our upcoming tuition is going to be. But the tuition that you also come in with, we have something also called the Penguin Tuition Promise. So what you come in with is the tuition that you're going to have for up to 4 years for you to finish. As long as you are enrolled, if you're part-time, doesn't matter, if it'll take you a little bit longer, but you are locked into that tuition. So from a budget standpoint, then yeah, you'll kind of have an idea and a sense of like what you would be expecting, okay? So let me think about this. So we talked about application, financial aid process. We talked about credit transfer. We talked about cost and scholarships, answered some questions. Is there any question that you guys may have put in the chat that I did not cover? And if you want to unmute yourself, if you are comfortable doing that, no pressure. Feel free to.
I think you answered everything in the chat. I know Teresa had the one question about credits, which again is hard without seeing transcripts and all that. So I kind of private messaged her and told her we could look that stuff over with transferology. I want to thank you, Kim. And actually, I want to thank Joe and Teresa too. I mean, a lot of your questions dictated the way this chat went. It also probably answered a lot of questions that students on Canvas will be going into it with. So thank you both for being very engaging. That helped. And again, Kim, you are the best. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. I'm going to stop recording now. Unless Teresa, Joe, you have any questions. It looks like Teresa's good, Joe. Okay. I'm going to stop recording so we can get a little less